Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and today we're looking at a scenario where all lands once occupied by Nazi Germany come back and are given to Germany in 2023. So of course most of these weren't annexed lands, just occupied as in the Russian front or even in the French one, just depending on who you ask, but this was them at their territorial European height. Here we're going to be assuming in real life, it would just have the same government. Obviously, this cannot happen, but let's go ahead and assume it does. First thing, instantly, this would become easily the third most powerful country in the world, rivaling China for second place. It is an incredibly powerful country with all of northern France, a lot of land in Russia, Ukraine, the Baltics, Poland, Austria, Germany, Norway. It has a number of very powerful countries, and it is only going to expand in this world. Let's go ahead and begin with them doing what, as always, all my empires do. Annex any weakened countries. Ukraine, you lost most of your land. And what's left is it's nothing. Ukraine, you're dead. You have almost nothing, and you're just dead. You're just dead. As for Moldova, yep, weak as well, you're dead. Slovakia, I'll show you what happens to them in a second, but I'm assuming you can guess, they're dead. And the German Reich here is just going to eat up any land around them that is owned by weaker countries. France has taken a massive hit, so that may be a war that starts pretty soon. But first, Germany is going for the Balkans, as they also go ahead and annex Slovenia, giving them access to the Mediterranean Sea. This now cements their third place and further allows them to compete with China for the second spot, and maybe even eventually the United States of America for the number one spot. What are they going to do from here? Well, they're going to go after Romania, and they're basically just going to start rampaging through the Balkans. They start steamrolling into Romania, and after barely even entering the country, a few weeks, they declare war on Hungary and on Serbia as well. We just really see that their armies are very much so prepared for this, and the Balkan front is looking very, very good for them. They are mainly trying to clean up Europe, but sadly for them, something has happened that is going to stop them from doing that. An alliance between Italy and the United Kingdom. Why is this bad? Well, because as much as you are a very powerful country, you cannot also defeat Canada, who joins, and the United States of America, who is probably planning on joining soon. As for Greenland, well, I guess they're just independent. Other countries that join this alliance include Spain. So this is really just the European powers coming together. Germany, seeing this, of course, soon after declares war on France, despite them having 0 divisions there. So now France is going to have a bit of a fun time retaking their land until the German army can arrive. That's not going to be very long, but for now, France is doing fine. We also see Germany, kind of overextending themselves as they continue to push down into the Balkans. With that, Turkey joins the Council of, it would be 4, but since Canada's in it, it's now the, quintuple alliance between Turkey, Italy, Spain, the UK, and Canada. As powerful as Germany is, I highly doubt they'd want to go to war with that. They even make it an alliance of 6, adding in Egypt, and they're mainly just looking for regional powers that they can get in on their side. With France at war, they cannot join, but Portugal agrees to join, and Sweden is in the process. What does Germany do? Well, they declare war. And now Finland's in the process. So what's Germany going to do? Well, they're actually going to do something with Finland. They know that war with Russia is inevitable, so they offer Finland a deal. I don't invade you. You help me conquer the Nordics, and Finland, of course, accepts this deal. Another country who is offered this is Iran, and Iran, of course, as well, accepts the deal to be allied with Germany. From there, some very old men in Argentina decide to join, but that's another story. And, Germany's trying to start their own alliance to counter this new green team. Soon enough, the German army arrives in France and begins to push back the country. They were heavily weakened from the lost land, And Germany is just incredibly overpowered in this world. They are investing heavily into military, so their military is almost on par with the US, the second most powerful in the world, and growing day by day. We're also going to assume that there are no rebellions, no people who want independence in this world, because there would most likely at least be some. And there's no way this could hold together for more than maybe a few weeks. Over here in Sweden as well, it is just not looking good for all these countries. The blue team is getting obliterated by the Germans. So yeah, war may have seemed like the Germans might be overextending themselves, but in the end, they're doing fine. Even Finland now joins in on the war against Sweden, and it's just not looking good for them. The Germans then start to get cocky and continue to push into the Balkans, and they eventually offer Greece the same deal they do everyone. They say, hey, join me and I'll give you some land. And that's basically just because Germany knows that they cannot hold down all of this land. They need some allies. They need to turn themselves from just a sole power into a true global player. Somebody who influences other nations. Their plan to do this, of course, is just get a bunch of countries on your side. And Greece is one of these after being promised land in the Balkans and possibly even land from Turkey. So now with Greece pushing into the Balkans, they're screwed. As for Sweden, they're screwed even more. Their army has nothing against the Finns and Germans, and they soon after surrender. And the French, well, yeah, they're gonna do what the French do best, and once again, that is surrender. With all of their enemies gone, Germany can now carve them up. Also, Portugal's at the alliance. From there, a few more countries are going to join this alliance, including Saudi Arabia, and possibly even some more Mediterranean countries. The USA is still thinking about it, as they do not really see the Germans as a threat to themselves, although more and more countries are considering joining the green team here, including Kuwait, Qatar, the UAE, and Oman, all looking for protection against Iran, along with Israel, who has some people vetoing them, but in the end they do manage to join. As for North Africa, well, nobody joins in yet, but there are some applications in the process. As for the Germans, well, they're going to do about what you'd expect. They're going to carve up the Balkans between themselves and their allies. No puppets shall be made. You are either allied with the Germans or you will suffer the consequences. They basically just screw over anyone who doesn't want to be friends with them. That's the main German strategy right now. So Greece is going to get all promised lands, or at least most of them. It's not going to turn them into a major world power, but the Greeks are definitely happy about this deal that they had made with Germany. As for Germany itself, it's going to be annexing the rest of the Balkans and all of France. Once again, we're going to assume that there are no rebellions here. We're going to assume that everyone just suddenly starts saying, oh, yes, I am German. Everyone here somehow knows how to speak German. And they all just see themselves as German now. Obviously, once again, that's not what would happen. These people would try to get their independence and just make it a really, really hard time for the Germans. Assuming that doesn't happen somehow. That Germany is now, if I had to guess, I mean, they are a fairly large country, but when it comes to power, in the beginning they were rivaling China. Yeah, now China's fearing surpassion, and the USA is also fearing that this new German Reich could surpass even them. So what's the USA gonna do? Well, they're gonna ruin any German hopes of taking on the green team by finally realizing that the Germans are growing too powerful and deciding that they need to join the alliance against them. Which now it's not even a council, it's just a bunch of countries trying to stop the Germans. Ireland wants back Northern Ireland. And over here in the Middle East, well, not much is happening in the Middle East. Sudan might join red team. Let's put Algeria on it. But overall, that is still just fine. Let's go ahead and color in Sweden. And yeah, Greece doubled in size. Economy maybe not doubled, but definitely grew. Greece is a very happy country right now. And then, of course, what's going to happen with Sweden? Well, Finland's going to get some land, as promised. But the Germans are going to be taking quite a majority of it. Although, the Germans will get the most important parts. The Finns will definitely still be getting at least a decent amount of land. First up, it's the Germans who are going to take the capital and all the southern area, and the Finns who are going to take a bunch of random forests and maybe one or two decently major cities. Totally fair, according to the Germans, and the Finns, well, all they can really say is fine. They can't really fight it, and hey, they got some land, barely did anything, can't really complain. They also got a lot more access to the Baltic, so once again, they're happy enough. From there, Germany is going to attempt to continue expanding its influence, especially in Europe. Switzerland has stayed true to its neutral policies, and sadly for them, that is going to lead to their demise. They refuse to join the alliance with the USA and just the Green Team in general, and that leads to them being invaded. Of course, the Green Team decides that this cannot happen, so they invade Switzerland themselves. And poor Switzerland here didn't do anything, and they do not deserve this. They're going to get carved up by Italy and Germany. Germany's actually, they try to get as much as they can, and Italy attempts to, sort of please the Germans. So the Germans do get a majority of the land, but Italy has taken some of the lands that were previously occupied by the Germans, and it is safe to say that it was a very tense peace conference, as these two are just complete enemies who wish they could kill each other. Germany at this point also has nukes, so there's no just going in and nuking them. That is just not possible anymore. When the other side also has nukes, there's no point in invading because everybody will die. With Switzerland gone, Germany has almost full control of Europe. It is either German aligned, or it is American aligned. And Europe is picking sides. Iceland is the only really neutral country left, and Germany is about to show its allies what it can do. At this point, Germany is not feeling very safe. They have a lot of borders with the Green Team, and the Americans are sending in more and more troops. So they're going to try and strengthen up their allies a bit. They basically tell Iran, hey, you know what? You can have Iraq. And Iran says, yay, but that's probably not going to help much. And Germany says, well, you got land, don't complain. From there, Finland already got some stuff. Ireland is still being promised Northern Ireland. And everyone's just kind of waiting it out to see what the Germans do and what's going to happen. What is going to happen exactly? Well, not what people would expect. They just expect Germany to stop the expansions and just build themselves up a bit, but they decide that war is the best way to build yourself up, and they declare war on Russia with the help of all of their allies. This is not going to be good for the world. If Germany wins this, then all of this land, all these resources, all these people are going to be German aligned, or just German in general. Yeah, that's not going to be very good, but sadly for everyone, Russia has the Ukraine war still happened in this world, just that all of that land was now annexed by Germany. So everyone kind of hates Russia, and even China says, you know what, screw you, I'm going to try and get good ties with Germany. We have a common enemy. And China's just trying to replace Russia with Germany here, setting up their own sphere, and possibly even joining into this war. From there, Germany is just going to steamroll the Russians. If you know your history, you know the Battle of Stalingrad, which is what stopped the Germans before. Yeah, the Caucasus Mountain Range is completely encircled and was just destroyed. Moscow's on the doorstep of the Germans, and St. Petersburg has already been captured. Even Finland is making some massive gains into Russian lands. So yeah, Russia's just getting absolutely overpowered here. They are having to fall back on all fronts. They haven't lost the largest amount of land due to the German advance, but they have definitely lost a considerable amount of power. The Germans are now just sprinting in, crushing the Russians as they go. And in the end, Russia is going to have to surrender here, as I highly doubt they can keep this up. But right before they can, you know what I said about China? Yeah, China's trying to become allied with Germany. They used to be rivals. Well, now they are going to attempt to be good friends, as China is now going to join the war against Russia and begin their own advance into the Far East. Is this necessary? No, not really, but are they still going to do it? Yes. Why? Because Russia had like no troops here, and it's just too easy to not do. With China quickly taking over the Far East, just with bodies alone, Russia is now going to surrender, and they're going to be split up among the Chinese and the Germans. Basically just turning it into a Chinese sphere and a German sphere. Obviously, the Germans get the larger piece of land and the most important one, but the Chinese get a fair amount of stuff too. Once again, as I mentioned, Chinese trying to make the Germans happy, trying to get into some form of alliance or non-aggression pact out of this. And the Germans not wanting another enemy, as they already have the most powerful country in the world against them, decide to accept this, and now there is maybe not the most stable alliance, but an alliance between the Germans and the Soviet Union. The Germans are also going to take St. Petersburg, just to hurt that Russian prestige a little bit more. They're going to take a good amount of land along the border, but set up a decently powerful puppet state, even taking some Chinese-occupied lands. As I said, China trying to make the Germans happy here. So, in return, the Germans are going to give them some of their land, and it's just going to end up being two incredibly weak Siberian republics, one a bit stronger than the other. As for the Chinese themselves, well, they're going to take some land out of this, of course. They cannot pass themselves up on free land. Of course, they don't have that big buff that says any land that you get will not rebel against you, so this is going to be much more difficult for the Chinese. The Germans begin to integrate their ally, or their new puppet, I guess I should say. I mean, that's already a massive help, even if they had just puppeted all of Russia, as Russia was still one of the most powerful countries, and having them on their side would have been fantastic for the Germans. Of course, they're German, so they're going to take some land, but honestly, I'm just talking to try and pass the time while I color this all in. Russian ally of decent size. Maybe not the largest thing, but hey, they also got the alliance with China, which is going to be mutually beneficial. China's also going to take the island of Sakhalin, and possibly even, I still think those are the girls, I couldn't even tell you. They may take more land, but this is all I'm going to have them take for now, whilst they also go ahead and puppet the Russians in everything that they didn't annex. A very weak puppet, but a puppet nonetheless. Just the Chinese trying to once again show that they're an equal ally to Germany, and definitely not just going to be the Italy of the alliance, which I highly doubt they will. So now we have three groups of people here fighting it out. The Chinese and the Germans, who are actually in good relations, and then the Americans, and now the entire world hates the Americans except for their few allies remaining. So their alliance is going to grow. Australia and New Zealand both join, along with Japan and South Korea. All major American allies, they all join in. As for the Middle East, Jordan joins in, along with Morocco. And down here in South America, Colombia and Chile both join, along with some other countries in the process and the application. And as for the rest of this Russian land, well, it's all now either German, or there's actually a decent amount that was given to Finland. As once again, Germany wants strong allies, and one of those is going to be Finland. So they're going to do their best to strengthen Finland into at least a minor global power. Gonna do this decently successfully, and honestly, I always say this, Finland gets some of these borders in real life. Finland could have had the most amazing borders ever if they had just played their cards right in history. With that though, I do think I'm gonna be stopping it soon. Germany has most likely taken the #1 spot away from the US, if not they're definitely in second. They have destroyed Russia and taken influence of all of Europe except for Turkey, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and the UK. They are definitely quickly expanding, and as for Iceland, yeah, neutrality isn't going to help them. Neither is it going to help Greenland, who is now just such a weak country. Without Denmark to protect them, which you wouldn't think they would, but Denmark is the only reason Greenland even exists. Greenland's dead. As for the green team, well, they're going to expand even further. First, they're going to take all of these non-colored in islands that I don't know why I didn't color in. And now the United States, well, Canada is very close to Germany over here in Greenland. So that's just heightening tensions even further. In this world, it may eventually lead to just an absolute apocalypse where everyone dies. If we get lucky, and this is like best case scenario, Germans just completely capitulate. Probably one of the more likely ones as well. Once again, unrealistic. I'm just going to finish this up, show you the final borders, and just talk about some of the general stats of this country. In the beginning, third most influential, now competing for the #1 spot. They're definitely the masters of Europe at this point, taking that title without a doubt. And as for the rest of the world, they don't have many allies outside their own region of influence, but they definitely have a number of puppets/allies nearby. The most important of which being Finland, the Russian Republic, Iran, Algeria, and Greece. We also see them having a non-aggression pact with China, who is also quickly expanding by annexing North Korea and considering pushing down to Southeast Asia while also annexing Mongolia. Germany here, very powerful position, and if we assume that nuclear bombs don't exist, as we probably already have, otherwise Russia would have used them, China and Germany may soon team up to destroy the Americans. With that, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye.